This lesson is all about hand shifts and what you do when you cross to different parts of the bass. We're going to lead up to that bass line that I just played, but before that I have a few exercises for you. Here's the first exercise. It goes like this. So there's a very subtle hand shift going on here. Later on in the lesson, I'm going to explain fingering systems, 1 finger per fret, extended, and kind of a hybrid. So stick around for that. But what you can see under the notes here are the numbers of the fingers on the fretting hand. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And this is a lesson where you should pay attention to the tab. So we've got 1, 3, 4. There I'm talking about finger numbers, not fret numbers. That's on the F sharp, G sharp, and the A. Now there's a first shift going on there. When your little finger plays the A, what you want to do is this. I'm just bunching up the hand and getting that first finger onto the 4th fret of the A, the C sharp. And really it's on the move the second it finishes playing the F sharp. That's my first shift, and you want to aim for this to be smooth with no gaps and no rhythmic hiccups. Okay, once we're in position there, you can use that same first finger to roll your finger onto the 4th fret of the D string. So you're using the same finger. That's this rolling technique. You're using the fingertip to play the note on the A, and the crease behind that first knuckle there to roll onto the F sharp. At that point, we can do another 1, 3, 4. I'll try and be clear as to whether I'm talking about fingers or frets. Here I'm talking about fingers. So it's 1, 3, 4 down there, and 1, 3, 4 down there. And then we're coming down. Coming down, I'm deliberately playing the F sharp on the 4th fret of the D string with that crease so I can roll backwards. Fingertip on the C sharp. I'll give you a quick angle of the back of the neck and what my thumb is doing. It's in contact with the back of the neck. I happen to have a line here on this space. The thumb is not pointing straight up. There's a little bit of an angle there. Everyone's going to be different though, so you need to find your own way with this. But the thumb is just sliding across in contact with the back of the neck. I'm not pressing down too hard anywhere. Just a very quick point, if you have arthritis or you have a hand injury or very small hands, a short scale bass can help with that. But I often say that, let's just say you've injured your little finger and you can't use it at all. You have to find your own way, really. In this case, I mean the A, you can play it open and you could jump at that point or shift at that point. At this point here, you might have to do something a little bit strange. Like that, where I'm going first finger, a quick jump to play the 2nd and 3rd. That's only if you can't use all 4 fingers. If you can, then do train yourself to use them all. Before we move on to the second exercise, I will quickly explain the basic fingering systems when you're playing bass. I always find that this isn't a hard and fast rule, and if you just look at bass players on YouTube, one guy I love watching is Leland Sklar, and he is someone who has an injury from back in the day. He's just got such a smooth style, and he just shifts, glides along the bass, and it's really great to watch, actually. And he doesn't always use this strict, 1 finger per fret, which is the first one, so you don't have to always use this. But here we have a 1 finger per fret E major scale. one finger per fret is exactly as it sounds. In this case, I have the first finger on the 11th fret, and then the other fingers line up 12, 13, 14, and each has a job to just play that exact fret. It's really good for fast passages if you are playing in one position. This is not a bass line, but if I played something like that, I need all four fingers to do that, and I would stay in one position and I would use all those fingers. That's one finger per fret. Extended fingering is where you have to come out of that neat 4-fret span. And here's an E major scale using 3 notes per string and extended fingering. So here, my first finger is technically should be lining up at, well, should be lining up at the 13th fret, but it's just coming out of position to stretch out to the 12th fret. The other ones stay in position. So you've got 1, 2, 4, and that's on the 12th, 14th, and 16th frets. And right there you've got 2, 4, 5 frets span. It's much easier to do that starting at the 12th fret than it is down here at the 1st fret if you did F major. But you can work on your stretch to do that. If you come back to here, it's 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 4. I'm talking finger numbers. And then here we're in position where we go frets 13, 14, 16 on the D and the G. So that would be extended fingering. But then what you'll find, as I was mentioning before, is that when you're playing actual bass lines, you just don't have to stick rigidly to one system or another. It's good to practice. It's good to get your fingers stronger and quicker, but it really doesn't matter what fingers you use as long as what you're playing sounds good, sounds in time, and you're not in any pain. Let's move on to the second exercise, which takes the first one a little further. There I wasn't bothering much about keeping in time. It was more about flowing and not having any gaps. So it starts off the same. Finger numbers here, we've got 1, 3, 4. There's that movement again. I'm pivoting around the thumb to get that first finger seamlessly onto that 4th fret. That's all the same as the first exercise, so it's 1, 3, 4 on the 4th, 6th and 7th frets of the D string. And then it's another shift exactly the same as this one. And here is one finger per fret, sort of just in different portions of the bass neck. See, for me, it wouldn't make sense to play with my first finger here and then shift to my 3rd finger. Like I said before, if you are able to use your little finger, it's worth working on it. You might need to alter the way that you hold the bass. I see a lot of people putting their bass on the other leg and angling it up a bit like Hadrian Farrow, and that's a really good way of doing it. It's a bit more classical guitar. Sometimes I'm a bit cramped in my filming of these videos, so I'm not always holding the bass exactly as I should, but it feels pretty comfortable to me. Use a strap if you need to. On the way down, it's sort of the opposite of what I was describing. You have your little finger to first finger, and at that point, my little finger is making the journey. It's already done it. And then my hand is just springing out into this shape. It's this sort of thing where you have your sort of like a V shape between each finger, and that's working on the gaps between your fingers, and you can get a good stretch, a good sort of rough 4-fret stretch doing that. I'm playing it quite fast. Obviously, slow it down to whatever you need to. The thing about the bass is that you can play a line in different ways, and it's good to find the way that you find comfortable. So this line, the rhythm is this: 1, 2, 3, 4, rest. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So I'm shifting after this little line here, then shifting to the 4th fret. But it's actually much easier to keep it all in one position. Now this is a little portion from the line we're going to learn in a minute. Sometimes it's very context dependent. I might want to shift to here if the next part of the line is further down that way of the bass. What I'm trying to say is that there isn't really a correct way. Sometimes a line will need you to slide, so it would be beneficial to be somewhere up here. That's a better way to slide. Then maybe there's not much room. So that there's lots of context to where you would place something on the bass and how you would shift to it. Here are a couple of exercises playing a scale across one string. There's no better way to practice your shifts than that. So instead of going like this, we are going to do this. There was no gap between any of the notes there. Now there are a number of ways that you could play this, but this is what I'm going for here. I'm going for a shift immediately, E to F sharp, and then F sharp to G sharp, frets 2 to 4. I'm performing a shift. And it's just a very quick but smooth and confident move. Even just playing that's a good exercise. Now, I'm not doing a great job here, but there, my fingers are now lined up in this rough hand position, so I can now do this. So I'm now in position to play fingers 1, 2, 4 on the G sharp, A and B. And then if I do another pretty big shift, I can play fingers 1, 3 and 4 on the C sharp, D sharp and E. Just practice that bit on its own. Don't worry too much about string noise when you shift, it's all part of it. Back down it would be, and I'm talking finger numbers, 4, 3, 1, big shift, 4, 2, 1, there's that 1 again. Challenge yourself, see how fast you can shift. It's quite hard. A good exercise nonetheless. I've got that thumb at the back of the neck and I'm just going as fast as I can. Next one is C sharp minor, starting on the 4th fret of the A string. This time we have, and I'll just say finger numbers, we've got 1, 3, 4. This is 1 finger per fret here. Then I'm doing the same thing, but that requires me to quickly shift to the 9th fret. It's quite a nice way to learn a scale because you're learning it by patterns. So 1, 3, 4, shift to the 9th fret, 1, 3, 4, shift to the 14th fret, 1, 3. By all means find another way to do it, and there will certainly be that. You know, if you're playing a Muse type thing, wouldn't sound good on an E major scale, but... There I was just using fingers 1 to 3 or 1 to 2. Like I say, lots of ways of doing this. Make your own things up. This leads us to the final bass line that I played at the beginning of the lesson. And again, do stick to the tab on this because the fingering suggestions, because the idea is to get you shifting. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm And that bit at the end was from the exercise before. A deliberate shift. So let's look at it. So 1, 3, 4, C sharp, D sharp to E. Now you have a rest to move, and that in the real world happens a lot. I've made the shift already. Now this section here, I'm all in one position. So F sharp, E, F sharp. And there is that third finger, again, getting ready. I say this quite a lot, but you have one finger in the future with both of the hands. If my hand is closed up like this and my fingers are way off the fretboard, I'm nowhere near that note. But if I try to curl my finger a bit, hold the bass properly, it's right there on that G sharp, so all good. Equally, that little finger. I know you can play the A open string, but this lesson is about trying to use those 4 fingers if you can. Now, after the A here, I have 2 eighth note rests. Those are those things there. I've got those 2 rests to shift. So I'm going from this position to this position. Very quickly, positions on bass relate to where your first finger is lining up. So if my first finger is lining up on the 2nd fret, I'm in 2nd position. So I need to go from 2nd position all the way to 5th, because I'm now lining up on the 5th fret. I'm still in 1 finger per fret here. Now a little shift again to get all the way to the 9th fret and play those notes with fingers 4, 2 and 1. And that's that bit which requires the quick shift to the beginning again. But you could equally do that. There's no problem with that. You've got loads of time to go here. You can shift here. If I wanted to make something up and do a fill on that last section, I'm here now. So I don't know if I want to shift all the way down to there. It doesn't make any sense for me in that scenario to do that. So if I was doing a fill, I might do this. I'm just in position to play the C sharp there rather than shifting. And that's what I was trying to talk about earlier about context. And the more you do this and the more you play, the more you'll understand how to play something that makes more sense in this position or shift around to there. You know, you will learn how to do that. I don't have any channel sponsors or companies to advertise, so just allow me a quick plug for my courses. I've got 5 of them. If you want to dive into any of this stuff a bit deeper, then I'll put some links below. Otherwise, the PDF link for this lesson is also down below. If you want to develop your technique even further, here's another video for you to watch now.